In this video, we are going over how to create my own reality. And by my own reality, I mean your reality, how you can create your own reality to be as beautiful, to be as abundant, to be as joyful, or whatever other word you want to attach to it, as possible. That's what we're going over coming up next. Let's get right into it, because with this idea, it's not actually that complicated, and I don't want to overcomplicate it for you. I want to keep this very, very simple. Also, before we get into this, make sure you check out HeartPath and you check out my one-on-one coaching down below. If you really want to be able to wire these things in, be accountable for these kind of things, you can check out more details down below if that resonates with you. But with creating my own reality, your own reality, there's one important thing you need to realize, and then we'll go over some actual things you can do. But it's you've always been creating your reality. You have always 100%, since you've been on this planet as a human being, as a spiritual being in a human body, you have been creating your reality as you go. And this shocks people, causes people to be incredulous, skeptical of this idea. But, just for the sake of this video, work with me here on this, because you have been creating your whole reality. You are a co-creator with the universe. And when you start owning the fact that you are creating your reality as you go, you can then start actually having influence over it. And so again, let's keep this very simple and succinct so you can start thinking about this and start relating it to your own life. You have always been co-creating with that which you actually are, which you are a part of and actually are as a whole. But we live in this dualistic experience, which just means you can't have one thing without another. There's up and down, left and right. There's hot and cold. And we experience this because we're people, we're humans, right? We're in this human experience. We're spiritual beings which come from the infinite, but in this human body that interacts with the world, we need to have relativity, which means you have to have, here, there, and the space in between. You need to have one thing and another. You can't experience, for example, love without experiencing fear, and vice versa. You can't experience happiness without sadness, because you wouldn't know what that was except in relationship with that other thing. So first, understand that. The next is to understand you've always been co-creating with the universe, with that which you actually are. And when you understand what your part is and what your part isn't, you can more easily create your reality. Here is why most people create a reality that they do not enjoy. Now, the first reason is because they're not aware they're creating it. And when you're not aware you're doing something, a lot of times you can be obviously lackadaisy with it. You can, not really be deliberate with it. And therefore anything can happen. It's chaotic. And then, with the way we're conditioned, we invite pretty not so great things into our lives, relatively speaking, to us. And so when you understand this, this is how you create your reality. You create your reality, and your part of the co-creative process is very simple. The way you think, what you think about. And remember, when we think in images. Like, we don't really think in words, right? So it's going to be different when I say words next. But thoughts are creative, and you almost always think in images, in imagery, in visualizations. You play mental movies. I mean, even when you're on autopilot and you're thinking about something, take a pause and notice what you're thinking about, and you probably have an image. You probably have a movie running in your mind at that time. So we think in that way. So that's the first thing. What you are thinking is creative, and you are creating your reality. A lot of times through thinking, because most of the time that's actually what we're doing. We're thinking, if we're in our heads all the time, that is. The next is the way you speak. Speaking, especially with emotion, you can speak your life into existence, your reality into existence. It can be very, very powerful. This is why things like affirmations, saying certain things out loud in the morning and night before bed, can be an incredibly useful tool. And obviously, the final component of what you have control over, what your part of the co-creative process is all about, is action. And this is the one people avoid the most, but has the most powerful effect. Because when you take an action, you are demonstrating who you actually choose to be in relationship to this moment. And the universe will almost always deliver back to you who you are choosing to be in this moment consistently. So for example, if I'm choosing to be lazy and uninspired and low consciousness in most of my moments, and that's what I'm choosing, and my actions reflect that, that's what I'm going to get back from the universe. That's the reality I'm going to create. And what would the byproduct, the reality, my physical reality be of those actions? Probably not so great. But if, for example, my actions were instead coming from a high consciousness place. Let's say I was doing my meditations, I was keeping myself in a feel-good place, I was taking actions from that place, I was being a loving, kind, joyful individual, I was doing the work, challenging myself, pushing my comfort zone, and I was doing that consistently, and I was choosing to be that in relationship to the moment. What do you think I'm going to get back from the universe. You see, the universe takes what we're thinking, what we're saying, what we're doing, and also remember this, and the emotion, the energy of each, because it's the emotion you're in when you're doing this, okay? That's going to determine a lot of this. So you can be thinking like, oh, I'm so grateful, but be completely in fear, right? The energy is going to be the stronger transmission, actually the only transmission. But we can use words to direct that transmission. When I think about being grateful, I'm able to connect to the emotion of gratitude. Some people can't do that yet because they're too bogged down in fear or some other emotion. But remember, the emotion, the energy is very important with this. But you create through how you think, you speak, you act, and the energy you bring to each. The universe will then take that transmission, it'll work with it, it will essentially make it show up in your life in the most perfect way that it knows. And what I mean by that is you might not see it, you might see something coming in and be like, oh, why is this coming in, blah, 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 but you don't know the divine plan. You don't know what the universe has in store with you, so stick with it. You know, don't be so concerned with how it's all going to come about. That's above your pay grade. That is not your concern. That is not a part of your co-creation or your creation. That is the part the universe takes care of. But you own how you think, you speak, and you act, and the energy to all of it. And when we understand that, we can now look back at maybe some of our past or some other people's lives and go, oh, it makes sense now. It makes sense that this person's struggling. It makes sense that this person's suffering. This person's always complaining and always playing the victim and always bemoaning, and they have a life that completely reflects that. Then there's this person over here who's always grateful, always appreciative, always just seems in this amazing energy, and they have this amazing life. Huh, why is that? Because that's how it works. You dictate the reality you want. You create your reality as you go, because every second you are creating through your thoughts, your words, and your actions, and the energy you bring to both. Every second, every moment even. You are always creating. You are a creator. You are a creating machine, and you are co-creating your existence right now, your reality right now with the universe. So I'm going to leave you with that, but start thinking about that and start monitoring the way in which you are showing up to your creation with how you think, how you speak, and how you act, and what energy you are in. I go over feeling good now on this channel a lot for a reason. In Heart Path, I go over that a lot as well. In my coaching, you know, with coaching, I get clients to stay in the energy a lot of times, because when that happens, good things start happening in their lives. It works every single time. I've seen it work every single time. With either people I've worked with, or people who have messaged me, or people I'm friends with that do this, and I've worked through in products, for example. It works every single time if you honor this, if you understand this, and you use this. Anyway, I'm going to leave you there as far as this is concerned, because again, I'm going off on tangents, and I could do that forever, as some of you already know. But again, if you want to go deeper into this, I highly recommend you check out Heart Path, which will be linked down below. And if you really want to be held accountable, you really want to get quick results with this and really start seeing the manifestations in your reality, I would recommend taking a look at one-on-one coaching. I don't take everyone on board. It's very limited. I'm very particular with who I will work with, but if you think we're a good match, if you think that it resonates with you, please reach out to me, and we will arrange what's called a discovery call to see if and how I can help you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.